Yeah, this is Bang Bang Rahil. Just a little podcast, really. I had some people with me last night, but anyway, please press the like button and subscribe. Yeah, I had some people here last night, and we were talking about John Duddy, who got done with Harry Roberts when they shot in police officers over at Duquesne Road, that area. I was away with John Duddy, yeah, in Chelmsford Prison. John was a nice guy, man. I like John. I like John Duddy very well, very quiet, nice guy. It seems, like when something happens like that, shoot police officers, nothing to do with John, nothing to do with John and Dudley, but he was there at the time, so they gave him a big bit of sentence. I think he got 25 years or 20 years, I'm not quite sure. And nice guy, man. I was going to visit with John quite a lot, and see him and his two daughters. But as you can see, it's busted him up, you know what I mean? Really busted him up. His kids were always crying, and John just got on with it, got on with his bird. But after you do something like 10 years, it isn't prison anymore. It's quite easy. You become institutionalised to it. Like me, I become institutionalised to it. It's not a big thing. You get people coming just start the sentences crying and all that. But this is what it is. That's what happens first of all. And I mean, when I met Buster Edwards at the Scrubs years ago, when I went in the laundry, Buster Edwards, nice guy, mate. You know what I mean? Very, very nice guy. Talk to you. I mean, come on. I mean, really, in a way, they're famous people. John Duddy, Buster Edwards, and all them sort of people are very famous people. Same as Frankie Fraser. I mean, me and Frank, we had a little word about Tony Lawrence, but Frankie Fraser, well-known gangster, well-known villain. I knew his son David, Patrick. I didn't meet the eldest one, Frank, but Patrick and David, I was good friends with them. David and Patrick I was very good friends with. A nice fella, Pat. I like Pat. I have a right laugh. David was a good-looking one out of them. Nice guy. I think the last time I seen Patrick, a long time ago, was down a club in Paddington. I think it was called Antonio's. Antonio's, was it Antonio's? In just off Bayswater there. Yeah, it was opposite Paddington Police Station, if I remember. It was a long time ago, innit? But yeah, nice people. That's where I met Bobby Dixie, pal of mine, Bob. We go back a long way. Nice fellow, Bobby Dixie, mate. Number one, Bobby Dixie. I mean, some of these people that I talk about, people have never ever, would love to meet them. You know what I mean? Would love, Ronnie Bender. I mean, come on, mate. You know what I mean? The captain, Ronnie Bender. I love Ronnie Bender, mate. Me and him was right pals. Really, really good friends. And people say he was this, he was that, he was that. He was a nice man. Do you know what I mean? But it seems that all these big bad people, what the papers make them out to be, and the judges and the politicians make them out to be really bad people. They're not bad people, mate. They're nice people. You more find out that the politicians are worse than them, worse than they could ever be. I mean, the politicians. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. He's got a big company, and the tax people nick 70% of his money. So every pound, they take 70%. Come on, who's the thief? And they're just doing it. I mean, this has been happening since like the 17th, 15th, 17th century, when you had to pay taxes to the crown. You know what I mean? It's crazy, mate, what they do to us, what they do to people, and people stand for it. You know what I mean? But that's how it is. That's how it is. We think we live in palaces. They live in palaces, mate, not us. They rule the roost. They got everyone behind them, police behind them, army behind them, everybody behind them. We got no chance. We just got to do as they're told. And the ones that don't do as they're told, like myself, like Frankie Fraser, like Duddy, like Buster Edwards, like Ronnie Bender, the Tibbses, the Dixons, all them sort of people, Mickey Green, Tony Edlin, all them sort of people, Togi Ludlow, Terry Millman, all them people, mate, they're their own people. They do what they want to do, not so much now. The ones that are out of prison now, just put their nut down and get on with their life, yeah? Because when we're young and youngish, yeah, we rebel, really. We don't want to be pushed around by the government. We don't want to be pushed around by these people. We've got to do. We want to do what we want to do. We don't want our mums and our dads and our wives and our kids to be struggling to get on with their lives, to buy themselves nice clothes and have a business. We want to go out and do things so they get it. They get what we haven't got. You know, my poor old mum. My poor old mum worked 3 jobs, 4 jobs a day. My old dad, my stepfather came to our life, and my mum didn't have to work so much. But you know, but she still lived in a hotel accommodations, and then the council gave my mum a place in a place called Mill Hill Road in Acton. Beautiful house, 4-story, 4-bedroom, massive place. But my mum had suffered for all her life to get that. My mum couldn't. My mum was straight. So what? They're taking home X amount of money a week, just surviving. You know what I mean? When also we was talking yesterday about a few things. People used to have, like, when you think about it, people used to have like 1 and 6. 1 and 6. At the end of the day, they paid the rent, they paid the gas, they paid the water, not so much water, they paid the gas, they paid the electric. They'd have 1 and 6 left. 1 and 6. That's about, what, 10p, 11p, something like that, I don't know. That to last them a week, to buy food to last them a week. Come on, mate. It's crazy that all that, and people going, yeah, they're bad people, they rob banks, they do this. No, they're not. They're not. We all listen. I'd never do nothing wrong again. I didn't say I've learnt my lesson. Well, I have, but I don't think it's a good thing that you know, I went through it. Kids go through it today. I don't think it's good. You know, we try to educate them, because what's happened to us, we got nothing. But there are people out there that ain't take notice of us and just go ahead of what they've got to do. You know, perhaps they're struggling. Perhaps their mums, their dads, their wives have got nothing, so they go out and get it. But most is about drugs today. So drugs has took over the whole thing of it. Yeah, everything drugs has just took over. You know, no matter where you go, no matter who people you see, it's all about drugs. It's all about drugs, and it's going to ruin everything. It's going to change everything. I mean, what happens going to happen when you ain't going to get money no more? You ain't going to get money. There'll be no such thing as money. There'll be all cards. It's going to happen. I mean, there's certain places now you can't go in a hotel and get a drink or book a hotel without a card. There's places you can't go without a card. It's going to get worse. And don't forget, I mean, it's quite easy for them, yeah, the government, or who's the card, the banks, how many much, they only got to nick a pound off of everybody with a card. They're getting billions of pounds per day. Do you know what I mean? This is what it's about. You know, they're nicking off us 24/7, but they do it, and we can't say nothing about it. They might come and nick money off you. What are you going to do? Who are you going to go to? Who are you going to go and see? No one. You can't see no one. You know what I mean? They nick all your money for your taxes, your insurance, everything. They're taking your money. You're working hard, and they're just nicking your money, mate. And when we go and take it, 9 times out of 10, it's a later thing or an early thing, you get nicked. You go in prison and you think, what have I done? The worst thing about prison in my days was the smell. It was the worst thing in the world, was the smell. As soon as you walk in prison, or as soon as you get in the van, well, in them days, the smell, it's like the prison smell. People smell, yeah? And you walk into that prison, mate, you walk into that reception, and you go, oh, fucking hell, this is it, again. The gates are slamming, bang, the gates are this, people are shouting, and you think, oh, what? But we want it, we don't care. But when you go in the wings, it's the same thing, the same smell. Go in that cell, it's the same old smell. You know when you walk in that cell, right, that you've got to be in that cell for at least what, 12 months, 18 months before you get allocated to another prison. You know what I mean? To a big prison where you'll be singled up, you get your single cell, and you can do all your nice carpets, your curtains, your bedspread. In them days, you used to have record players, Philips's, Pi record players, and things like that, yeah, and you know, record players. And what we used to do was you used to get a PP9 battery to run your record player, but because it didn't last 5 minutes, everybody used to chase the wall, yeah? Chase the wall with a nail, get a bit of wire from the radio to the mains, to the main light. Yeah, chase it all the way along. They do it with paper mache and paint it. Screws didn't. Listen, the screws knew, yeah, but they let it go. I mean, everybody. I mean, come on. You know, just imagine getting a record player and you only have it for like half a night and it stopped. So it was done. Everybody done it, mate. Everybody chased that wall to the power. You've got people who are electrical engineers, electricians come in and do it for you. People, the convicts, you know what I mean? Yeah, and you got to do them things. Like you get your hooch. People make the hooch. And you know, there's millions of apples going about, and they used to work in the kitchen. Everybody wants yeast to do the yeast, to make the hooch. And then they got lemons, they got this, they got that, you know, and they're making and they're just like currants, loads of sugar, you know, it ferments and it can blow up, and you know, like, but when it does ferment and it does come out on top of the hooch, it's stronger than anything, and it's sweet. It's a nice taste, but it's strong. You know what I mean? You have a glass of that, mate, and you're legless. I mean, I don't drink anyway, but in there, Christmas time, we had a little drink, and I was legless. You know, like I had a cupful, a little beaker full, and it was legless. But we all get them bits, and we all get them things in there. You know, like in prison, everybody who is someone can get what they like. You know what I mean? You get what you like, mate. I was in the kitchen. I was getting steaks. I was getting lamb. I was getting pork. I was getting chunks of beef, chunks of ham, you know, and taking out the wing. More so when I was in Albany, not so much in Chelmsford, because Jimmy Tibbs, the old man Tibbsy, was a butcher, and he looked after everyone in the wing through Ronnie Bender. Ronnie Bender used to take it out the wing, and they used to live a good life, mate. And Mickey Green, massive, one of the biggest drug dealers ever in England. You know, and I mean, he had a life, Mickey Green, you know what I mean? He wasn't flash at all, you know, he wasn't aggressive. Him and a guy called Tony Edlin, my mate's dad, nice people, mate. Nice people, had lots and lots of money, you know what I mean? And it's like, you think to myself, God, you know what I mean? They're proper gangsters. I was a gangster. I worked with a big company, you know what I mean, but not at that time, you know. And I mean, I went in for silly things, but I got a big bird because I was one of them people that hated authority and hated anybody touching me and putting their hands on me, especially police officers. If police officers put their hands on me, they was in trouble at that time. And not now. I don't get much of any sort of problems like that at all. I'm an IPP. I don't have none of that shit, mate. But in them days, I didn't care, mate. I didn't care. Police officer touched me, mate, he was in trouble. I'd break his jaw, I'd bust him up, mate. I'd bust him up. So that was what I did. It's not a good thing. I don't think it's a good thing to do all that shit, but we do it, you know. We do it as kids. Not as kids, even men. We do it as men. And that is it, you know. I had a reputation for doing that. I had a reputation for knocking people out. That's why they call me Bang Bang Ray Hill. But I used to know a guy called Brian Cox. He's the film star actor. He was in Troy. He was the king in Troy with Brad Pitt. But he's done loads of films. Loads of films. Brian Cox, a very good friend of mine, Brian Cox. He stood bail for me with one of my sentences, and he gave me he was the one who put the record up, Call for Cats, and he called me Bang Bang. That was the one who called me Bang Bang. Brian Cox, he called me Bang Bang. That was the name he gave me, Bang Bang, yeah, because I was someone that could hit with left or right hand. If I hit you with a left hook, mate, you're gone. If I hit you a right cross, mate, you're definitely gone. Yeah, something I was born with. I was born with a punch. But Brian Cox, I mean, Jimmy Tibbet. Jimmy Tibbet was Brian Cox was an actor. Jimmy Tibbet was an actor. Brian Cox, they all had a thing called equity card in them days. So Brian Cox was an actor. Jimmy Tibbet was an actor. All the people from that side of the water. Johnny Old was an actor. Davey Old was an actor. Terry Coombs was an actor. No, I mean, there was who else? There was Shaw was an actor. I mean, there was loads. There was so many people that were actors. I remember Jimmy getting hold of me and Brian Cox, because Brian Cox when he was with me, he'd had a car accident and he'd done his leg. He limps, Brian. I think he'd done one of his legs, but he's a nice guy. I'd love to meet him, you know, because he really, really liked my sister. My sister Dinah, my big sister Dinah. She was riding horses. Brian loved horses, and my sister's really, really pretty. Brian Cox loved my sister, you know, and it's crazy, isn't it? And look where he's gone now. He's a famous actor, director, and I'd love to get hold of him. I'd love to have a talk to him about helping me out with the film. You know, you never know. You never know they listen to these podcasts. But Brian Cox, I will try and get hold of him one day. A good friend of mine. I'm sick. One of my best mates ever was Jimmy Tibbet from Hayes in Kent, who was my trainer. I mean, you know, he was a good man. Eddie Richardson. Look at these people. Look at the people. The names are knocking out. You know what I mean? Eddie Richardson, gentleman. Charlie, gentleman. Go around Charlie's house. Had them two little white dogs barking all the time and drive you nuts. Charlie, I like Charlie, he's a nice man. Charlie's very quiet spoken, but very dangerous man. I mean, there was all very dangerous people, especially Eddie Richardson. People look at him now and see that he's afterman he was. But let me tell you something, Eddie Richardson's got a lot of power. Still has that power, even today. He hasn't lost that. He will not lose that, yeah. There's people that I was away with in Albany. Pat, no names. Pat was my mate in Albany. Me and Pat used to work out together. And I used to call Pat the antelope. He used to run around the yard like an antelope. The geezer was fit, man. 100% fit. He had plenty of people behind him. Good man, mate, Pat. And then I met Pat in Maidstone, another place, Maidstone prison. You know, then he had a bit of trouble with Billy Blundell. Me and Bill was close because I was going to gym with Bill and spar with Bill, and a guy called Ricky Curley. Nice fella, Ricky Curley. Ricky Curley, little air thing there, bit dangerous man, powerful man. He was proper, mate. I love Ricky. I love Ricky Curley. I heard he's married to a black girl. Get on to Ricky because I like black girls myself. But Ricky was a gentleman, mate. A gentleman. I like Ricky. We lost contact. I see him once, Ricky. I'm sure he was plot up on me for some reason. I see him down a Gold Road in the bush. Why would he give me down there all the way where he lives? But that's beside the point. I said, you be down here, boy. Looking at me, Ricky. No, hello, where are you going? As if he's, you know, Ricky, what are you doing, mate? But I like Ricky Curley, mate. He's a gentleman. Freddie Pooley. Fred Pooley, number one. Owns a big, I don't know if he owns it. Someone said he owns that big sunbed shop in Brentford High Street. Me and Fred go back a long way in Lewis Prison. I mean, I met some good people in Lewis Prison. Some good people in there, mate. And you know, I mean, Freddie Lloyd, nice guy. Patrick Fraser was there. I think David was there. I'm not quite sure. There was quite a lot of names in Lewis Prison, but I can't really remember all the names. Albany was a dangerous prison, very, very dangerous. But you had proper people there. The Barry brothers, John and Parker Barry, nice people. The Roses, right? The Roses I met at Chelmsford. These people in there, mate, that's unbelievable names. You know, Peter Kelly. I mean, Peter Kelly was my right-hand man. Me and Peter Kelly was pals, good pals. We fell out a few times, but that was over silly things like weights and all that. You know what I mean? And I mean Sam McCarthy, very, very good fighter. Sam, I think it was a flyweight. I'm not quite sure, bantamweight, flyweight. Good fighter. I think he held the British title. Talked very, hello there, how you all right? Very posh. I met him in the Cut A department in Brixton Prison with Brian Turner. Thank you, fellas. I think I'm not quite sure if Bertie Smalls was in there and Jerry Wilkinson. I'm not quite sure, you know. I'm sure they were, but I can't remember. It's before they both become, or one of them become a grass. Bertie Smalls. Then you had Gervais. Then you had Mahoney. They all come to super grasses. All them people. I mean, it goes on and on and on. Do you know what I mean? There's so much goes on when you're in prison. The people you meet, the things you hear. I mean, I've got so many stories about prisons. I mean, unbelievable. I remember once, mate. I mean, two brothers tried to kill me. You know what I mean? But anyway, that's another story one day. And you know, I mean, to go in prison as a kid and go in there and have to fend for yourself, and you come out on top. Yeah, you come out one of the best. I really thought that I was one of the hardest men in an English prison. Definitely, without a shadow of a doubt. I think I was one of the hardest men in British prison. I was the most powerless man in British prison, without a shadow of a doubt. At that time, in the 70s and the 80s, and I was fucking powerful, mate. I was fighting anybody in there, mate. I didn't care. I did not care who they were or what they were. I'd fight them, and it didn't bother me. You know, and I loved to keep myself fit. I was always 100% fit. I was always 100% strong. I was like a lion. No, like a gorilla. It's called me King Kong. King Kong Hill. That's a new name for me, King Kong Hill. I was ginormous, massive, doing silly weights. Powerful, mate, so powerful. I remember Sam McCarthy. Sam, it was so funny. He hung his bag up for me, yeah. He went, come on, I heard you a bit of a fight. He showed me what you can do. I got in his bag, I mean, being clever, a big, powerful man. I smashed the bag to pieces. I put my hands nearly through the bag. I'm not joking. I was hitting the bag so much in one spot. Whack, whack, whack. I put my hand through the bag. Sam McCarthy went, Jesus Christ, I've never seen anybody do that to a bag before in my life. He said, no, I've been in the gym a long time in my life. Paul McDermott, very good friend of mine. Paul, I met him outside on the road. Nice fella, Paul. Paul done his bird easy, another gym orderly. I wasn't a gym orderly in Albany, I was in the kitchen in Albany. But they had a good gym in Albany, mate. Good gym. Good people in there, mate. Good people. Chelmsford, brilliant. Fantastic people in there. The guy, do you know what? I was with a guy in Chelmsford prison called Kenny Beagle. I met Kenny Beagle years ago in the Scrubs when he just started his, I think he was doing a life, or 14 years rep or something like that, I'm not quite sure. But I met him in the Scrubs. He started me on the powerlifting team. He got me in the gym, yeah. And I was with another guy, this big guy, I forget his name, old man, but this guy was powerful, mate. Powerful. I don't know who it was. I always thought it was Donny. I don't know who it was, but this geezer was so powerful. He could squat. They got me on a squat. Now, I've never ever done squats in my life, even going down to gyms and all that, yeah, as a kid. Always curls, benching, pressing, and all that sort of thing. So they got me on a squat. So I'm in the powerlifting team because, anyway, they got me squatting silly weights. Right? I fell forward, picked up my... Listen, I couldn't walk. I couldn't walk from the gym. I tried to walk up the stairs to where my cell was, yeah. And my legs all locked up, seized up, and I was in a bad way. I was in pain in my arse for days. But Kenny Beagle, a nice guy, me and him become good friends. And then I read later on that he was a hitman, you know, and they killed him in the car park, but he was a famous hitman, mate. He didn't muck about. And me and Kenny still rouse and rouse about weights and take the piss out of each other, yeah. But it just goes to show you that you don't know who you're fucking about with, you know what I mean? So be careful. Anyway, this is Bang Bang Way Hill. I've got so many stories, but I'm going all night here talking, and it's got to stop really. Anyway, this is Bang Bang Way Hill. Please press the like button. Please subscribe. Keep going on with your comments. I love your comments. Yami, I respect you lots, mate. People give me some good comments about Yami. He went through a lot, Yami. And believe me, I went through a lot the same as him, maybe even worse than him, yeah. And you know, and when you hear people talk about it and you've gone through it yourself, it's quite upsetting, yeah. It upsets you a little bit to think that we're the ones, right, that are brave enough to come out of it. There's plenty of people out there now, right, that it's happened to, that think, oh, I ain't coming out with that, I'm too tough. But mate, you've got to come out of it. This is why 99% of us, well, I'd say at least 80% of us turn into violence, turn into bad people because we've been sexually abused one way or the other as kids. It just don't happen like that, mate. It just don't happen like that. You ain't born with that. You know, it comes out of you. Well, we got bashed up by our dads, but maybe our mums was a bit more harsh. I don't think it was that. I mean, we needed to be punished from our mums. Dads in them days were a bit more wicked. But to be sexually, it seems that in them days there was no such thing as a paedophile or a nonce. Yeah, nonce come out later on in the 80s in Winchester. Nonce was a word that come out. It wasn't a sexual thing. It was like that, you know. But it was people that had to be kept away from exercise from other people. Yeah. But paedophiles didn't come out until later on, so it was going on. It was rife in the 50s and the 60s. It was rife. It seems to be what happened all the time. It was, you know, it just happened. I don't know what it was. It just happened. Anyway, this is Bang Bang Rail. Please like and subscribe, and I hope you like my podcast. Yeah, take care. Have a nice night. Yeah, bye bye.